All right. So, in the spirit of Digital Day, our last speaker today is joining us virtually. I'm going to turn things over to our last presenter of the day, John. Oh, and thank you to Business of Home, because today's presentation, this final presentation, is with Business of Home. I've been thanking them all day and forgot. Apologies. Thank you to Business of Home. What an awesome media partner.
Hi, everybody. Can everyone hear me? Am I good? I can't really see you guys now, but I was spying on you earlier. So I've really enjoyed the bits of presentations that I've seen today. They've been so great and such good information. And I'm so sorry I can't be there in person. I had a family emergency and could not be there, but as she said, in the spirit of digital technology, here we are, and we will proceed as we are going to. Goals for today. So let's jump into this. So here we are. We're going to learn why you should not rely on social media as your primary form of marketing. And listen, you guys, this is not a social media bashing session. I promise you that. This is a session just to let you know other things that you can do to enhance your presence with your marketing and use social media as a launching pad and as a portion of that marketing. Obviously, we all use social media as marketing, and so do I. And that is something that we are just going to continue to use. But I just want to enlighten you and hopefully just give you a few more ideas about things that you can do to market your business in conjunction with social media. Next, we're going to learn how to develop your own social network. Sounds a little scary, right? I know, but I promise you it's totally doable. And have control over your content and your growth. So as we know, social media has its own limitations and its own people calling the shots for those things. I want to show you a way to make your own social network a bit more powerful and to actually utilize that. And lastly, we're going to talk about specific marketing techniques with longevity that do not rely solely on social media. So they do use it as a part of it, but not 100% entirely on social media. Okay, before we move into this, if you have no idea who I am an interior designer. I have offices in LA and in Orlando, Florida. I'm on the West Coast. I'm also a business coach for interior designers and creatives. So I have a suite of online courses that I have for you guys to go in and learn about marketing, digital marketing, contracts, agreements, processes, all those things. And funny enough, I'm actually from Georgia. I'm from Dalton, Georgia. So it's kind of ironic that the Georgia boy is not in Georgia today. So my mom is very disappointed in me that I could not tack on an additional part of my visit to see her. But yeah, I am, and I lived in Atlanta for a time as well. So Georgia is in my blood. As I said, I created the Designer Within business courses. So those are courses that I have online where anyone can take the courses. And I'm also a business coach as well. I'm a bit of a tech nerd. I'm not an expert, but I do love technology. And I just love the way that it does help our businesses and the different ways that we can utilize it. And we're going to touch on some of that tech today, some things that I've used that work for me. And I think things that would work for you as well. And you don't have to be a tech guru to do these things. These are just simple technology that you can implement in your company. I'm a cupcake connoisseur. If you have any cupcakes, send them to me. I promise you I will like them. As you can see from this photo, I'm also a Dolly Parton fanboy, self-proclaimed, not ashamed about it. And I love her not only just for music, but also as a business person. I always love to look at different people who are successful and figure out how they became successful. And she has taught me a lot. But most importantly, I'm an advocate for you guys, for designers, for creatives. I am you. We are one. I have probably been in almost every situation imaginable throughout my career. And I'm loving that now I can share this information with all of you. So let's just kind of jump in now to the category today, which is social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There are parts of social media that are very good and very bad and also very ugly. I don't necessarily have them in order because I wanted to end on the good, but I did want to just remind you that there are aspects of social media that are positive and negative. So first is positives, right? We have connections, we have thumbs up, we have likes, we have DMs, we have people sharing our post and people saying how great that room looks or how great of a concept that was. And it just kind of builds us up and makes us feel great. And social media is that. Is it real or is it fake? I don't know, but it does have that momentary sensation of enjoyment and of feeling great. So there are the connections, which are good. On the flip side, we have the connections which are bad, right? We have the people who are not so positive and maybe do leave us some negative comments and maybe do not love what we've posted. And you really have to develop a thick skin with some people and really think about what they're saying and who is saying it and what actually that person's impact has on your life. So the connections are a positive and a negative. Hopefully there's more positives in your social media, and I'm hoping there are in mine too. I've had my share of both. And I was just watching a masterclass, funny enough, on the Kardashians and the Jenner. And so Kris Jenner was talking about, how the positives were even outweighing the negatives with their social media platforms. And I think it's so interesting to know that someone even on that level still is concerned about the negative connections that they have. And it affects us all. And she said basically that she just tries to get those out of the way and forget about them. Social displacement. So this is where we are essentially replacing the in-person communication, the in-person interactions on social media. We're replacing that on social media with our in-person communication. So if we are using social media as a replacement of working with someone in person or a replacement of conversations with people in person, even if it's on the phone, that is a negative thing. And so many times now, especially since COVID era and the pandemic, when we were forced to communicate only virtually or online, we have had this bit of social displacement, and it can sort of screw up your mind a bit and thinking that actual online communication is equal to the in-person communication, and it is not the same. As we know, you can say different things online and there is not that emotion that's attached to it. You can't hear the connotation in someone's voice. So even, for instance, with our clients, we never deliver bad news via email or via any sort of other digital communication method. We do require that we do it in person or on a phone call. And that's what I'm saying. The emotional aspect of it is lost when you are only communicating online. Next, someone else owns your data. They own your story. This is scary. Like, if you are only depending upon social media as your primary form of marketing, that company is in charge of whether someone sees your marketing. And it is almost as if we're showing here, you're building your brand, you're building your image on someone else's land. And that is pretty darn scary because that could go away in an instant. I mean, think about the whole TikTok thing happening right now, right? So many people are possibly concerned that TikTok could go away. It probably won't. And honestly, a lot of the social media platforms aren't going anywhere. But in reality, they do own what you're saying. When you sign up with them, you're turning over a lot of information and you're turning over a lot of control over your own brand. So when you are working with a social media platform as your primary or only, hopefully not only, form of marketing, just know that they are the ones in control overall of how you are going to market your business. Next, it can be costly. If you have a personal Instagram account, for instance, versus a creator or a business account, Instagram knows this, and they love to come at us, these with our business and our creator accounts. They love to come to us and say, all right, you want to boost this post? You want more people to see it? You've gotten the notifications as well. So the cost can really increase when you are forced to advertise and forced to promote your ad or your story or anything online with these digital platforms. So the cost of that can go up. Also, the time cost, which in my opinion is a bit more important than the financial cost, frankly. The time investment that it takes to put together a post or put together a video on TikTok and edit it and add the music and all those things, it can be costly in the terms of time. So really think about the time investment that you're putting into your social media and the actual financial cost investment as well. Next, your target demo can be diluted. If you are just sending out information to the masses, you don't know who your target audience is. You don't know who you're speaking to. There's necessarily no point of view, and you're just throwing things out to see where it lands. You're wasting your time, frankly. And that demographic that is your people could possibly not even be being reached because you are just trying to appeal to everyone in order to get more likes or to get more views on your reels or stories. So really try to think about who your target demo is. And you should always be speaking to them, honestly. You should be speaking to that person. I always have one person in mind with my target client, and that is who I always try to speak to when I'm speaking on social media. And when I do that, that way, no matter what I'm saying, no matter what's coming out, no matter what I'm posting, that is always going to come across as speaking to that person because that's who I have in mind. At the end of the presentation, actually, I'm going to give you a link. You can download my little guide to help you create your ideal client profile if you would like. I have a little story about this too. I had a friend who had I'm not going to say what type of business because it might let you know who this is, but she has a business, and she paid to do a paid post on a very high profile page of someone who has a lot of viewers and a lot of subscribers and a lot of followers. And she paid, I think, around $5,000 for this post. So she posted it on the person's platform, and she got zero new followers. And it's because she was just overwhelmed and enamored by the fact that this person had this many followers, and she thought she could piggyback off of that. And she could not, because her followers were not the same as the other person's. Her target audience was not the same as the other Instagram person's target audience. And she basically wasted her money, and she wasted all of this time. And it just goes to show that, it doesn't matter if this person has X amount of followers and you're trying to sort of, feed into that. It's not going to work because those followers are not your followers. And I had a similar situation. We have a high profile client. I think he has 5 million followers. And he posted on his stories and on his post. And I was like, okay, I didn't really invest a lot of emotional time into it. I kind of knew what was going to happen. And even though, they posted the lovely post and stories and all the things, it ended up with maybe 15 or 20 new followers. And once again, it's because that person's demographic and target audience was not mine. And it just goes to show you always have to hone in on your target audience, and you always have to be speaking to them. Next, unhealthy comparisons. This goes without saying, but the social media tends to be the highlight reel, the beautiful things, the perfect projects. This is going so well, and this install is so great, and no, this client didn't try to sue me, or those type of things. But it really is. It can get unhealthy at times. And I loved what some of the panelists were saying about authenticity and just being yourself. And that really is true. If you are yourself online and other people are as well, then you're seeing the true person that they are versus some sort of facade that they want people to see. I was guilty in the beginning. I was posting things that I felt that other people wanted to see. And I was posting things that I felt that I saw that other people were posting, and I will tell you, it got me nowhere. And it really turned into a kind of a black hole of lost posts because I was just posting for what other people were posting to be successful. I like back to the Kardashians. None of us could pull up a Kardashian post, so to speak, and post the exact same thing that they posted and expect the same results, because those aren't our people. So just know that the things that you see online aren't always healthy comparisons, and just think about the realistic part of that. And the older you get and the more experience you get and the more time you spend in this industry, you're going to see that there is, unfortunately, a bit of a facade that people like to put up, not only in this industry, but in all of them. There's also a false sense of accomplishment. And what I mean by this is it is very easy sometimes to just do a post. Maybe you wake up, you have your coffee, I'm going to do a little post today. And you post it and you feel like, okay, great, I'm done for the day. You posted this out there. Didn't really think about what it said so much. Didn't really think about the perception you were trying to give other people, or what message you were trying to say. You just posted something. So you felt great. And then you find out later, like, wow, there's like 5 likes on that, or 10 views on that reel. And it sort of it's a false sense of accomplishment because we feel good about the action of posting or of creating something, but we're not really thinking about, once again, who we're sending that to. And that accomplishment is not really an accomplishment if the right people aren't seeing it or if it's not a powerful post. And I always try to post with a purpose, have a reasoning behind it. I would rather post 0 than I would post something that has, rather than that doesn't have a message to it. So think about what you're posting when you do that. You're also developing your own voice. So this is a good. You are developing your voice. You're becoming authentic. You're creating a point of view. You are able to speak to people. And the more you practice at it, the better you are. So this authentic voice that you should have in person should also resonate online. And you should be having this, this pure version of yourself online as well as in person. So think about developing your own voice online. And once again, how that will turn into new clients down the road. Empathy through sharing. This is a good. So we're all online. We're sharing our good stuff. We're sharing our bad stuff. And hopefully there are people there to support us. Hopefully, I wish the design community online would become more supportive. And I know that we are in a certain way, but I feel like there's so much more clarity and transparency that we could be giving one another to help one another. But the good is definitely empathy online. And I encourage you all to share as much as you can about your experiences, the true version of your experiences, and also share a lot about, and help other people with those sharing of information so that they can get through a bad situation possibly. So empathy is great, once again, in person and online. It is easy and quick to implement. So once again, you can post something quickly if you want. If you don't want to take time to edit a video, even when the reels were becoming popular, and then we had the people who were against the reels on Instagram, they were just posting a silly little reel that said, I'm posting a static photo to make a reel. So it can be quick and easy to implement, and it can still work if there's a message behind it and if you do think about it. So it could be the easy and quick to implement part is something that is a positive and a negative, depending upon how much time you put into thinking about that post or that reel. So many of us depend on social media as our primary form of marketing. Guilty in the beginning. I did it. I'm sure a lot of you are as well. And again, I'm not bashing social media whatsoever at all. But today we're talking about digital. And that is what I want to talk more about and let you know other ways to do that. But I have a question for you. What if it all went away? What if the TikToks and the Facebook and Meta, folded? They laid off 12,000 people last year at Meta, and so what if it all went away? What if there were no social media to post on? And what if our main lifeline for marketing was quickly gone? And it could be gone in an instant. I know again, back to the Kardashians, I know with them, it would definitely affect their business, and I'm sure it would affect yours as well. I have a solution for you, and that solution is to create your own social network. Boom, right? It sounds a little daunting. It sounds overwhelming. I promise you it's not. I have done it, and I've developed sort of a step-by-step way, and I've pulled those out today to show you exactly how you can start your own. So here are 4 ways that I feel you can create your own social network. In person, old school, back in person, talking to each other like you guys are today, like I really wanted to be today. An online community. So you're developing your own online community, your own community of people that you are nurturing and working with. Your email list. If you don't have an email list, do not fret. We're going to talk all about that and how powerful that email list is. And it is a form of digital marketing. And then lastly, I've grouped these 3 together as one grouping. So newsletter, blog, and the podcast. These are 3 fantastic ways to continue to develop your own social network. So let's jump in and let's talk about what is a social network. So as we all know, a social network is a network of social interactions and personal relationships. So this is that overall description of a social network. It's all the people we know. It's anything socially that we do. It's anything that we do to market our business. It's anything we do to just develop friendships and relationships with tradespeople and vendors and manufacturers. So it is that overall. However, the other version is a dedicated website or other application which enables users to communicate with each other by posting information, comments, messages, images, etc. That is your TikTok, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your all the things, Facebook, all the things there that we know social network is. My goal today is to expand your definition of a social network and to, again, let you see other ways that you can develop your own. Okay, here are some benefits of your own social network. It is a community of like-minded people. So as you develop this social network, you are working with people who align with your beliefs, with your company values. You are working with vendors who align with your beliefs and your company values, clients. Anybody that you are working with is a community of people that is choosing to work with you or choosing to go along this journey with you. And I love that you don't have to censor what you say. You don't have to worry about so much what's coming out, because these are the people who are your tribe, so to speak. These are your people who love you and support you, and you also love and support them. And it gives a lot of peace of mind in knowing that these are people who are on your side and you were on their side. It's also important to know that you're in control. So as entrepreneurs, we love to be in control, and I'm guilty too. But it is important to know that you're in control when it's your own social network. So when all of these things are under your umbrella and you're not reliant solely upon another social media platform, you're in control of that. You're in control of what you say. You're in control of how much time you spend on it. You're in control of, the people that you allow, frankly, into your social network. And the control factor is it's not a narcissistic thing. It is actually a great business sense to have when you can be in control of all of your marketing. It also has unlimited growth potential. So as you're developing this social network and as you are growing, you can grow this as big as you want, or you can keep it small as you want. It's really the sky is the limit when you are working on your own social network. So if you want to have 1,000 people in your community, that's fine. If you want to keep that smaller and have more one-on-one interactions, that's fine as well. But the sky truly is the limit on how far you can grow that. Here are some ways to develop your own social network. We talked about these earlier. The first one is in person. I heard the previous panel and I loved what one of the panelists was saying about how to get deals with brands and vendors, and it was in person. And I totally agree with that. It is the tried and true way to make marketing work for you. And you might not need this old phone here, but old school is the best school. I stick by this. I've done it from the beginning. When I first started out my company, there was no social media, so to speak. It was smaller, basically just in its infant stages. And I was forced to do these in-person things, and I love them. And it allowed me to grow my business and to get really deep personal relationships with people. So the first way is industry organization events. So this is anything that's in your industry that is related to what you do. So as a designer, it's IIDA, it is, all the things that could ASID, KBIS, all the things that we could do as designers where we can actually go to with an organization, go to their events and network. And I know you're probably thinking, well, yeah, I'm going there and I'm networking with, other designers or other creatives. But yes, that is exactly the key. Those creatives and those other designers and your colleagues are going to be able to know more about you, and they're going to be able to refer people to you. Let's say another designer is super busy and they can't take on any more projects. They're going to remember this conversation with you where you have a specific design style or maybe a specific process that you use within your company, and they're going to click and they're going to remember, and they're going to send those people to work with you possibly. Same thing with vendors as well. A lot of vendors and manufacturers also attend these events. And it is such great networking to get into sort of their brains and them to get into your brains. And then you can develop deeper relationships with them. I have personally used this to my advantage a lot. I do a lot of in-person marketing where I just go to cocktail parties or dinners, and those have turned into ambassador programs. They have turned into, lots of sponsorship opportunities. I turned my previous home into a show house during COVID, and 90% or so of the products in my home were sponsored by companies that I chose to work with and who chose to work with me. And most of those partnerships came from these in-person meetings where I could, tell a quick joke or, give my elevator pitch or whatever it was. But it allowed us to learn who each other was in a more personal way. And they remembered me when it was time to do something as far as a sponsorship. So don't underestimate the power of these industry organization events. Show houses and trade shows. This is an avenue that you may or may have not jumped into. I have personally not done a show house, but I have a lot of friends who have done those, and I know for a fact that they work. So you're developing a beautiful space, and not only are you going to have that space for people to see in person, you're going to be there in person. You're going to be there to literally tell them why you chose the wallpaper or the lighting or the furniture. It's going to be your point of view, and it is some of the best one-on-one marketing that you can have, because they're the clients, the potential clients who are coming through those spaces and loving what they see. They're able to get into your mind, and they're able to get into the process and the reasoning behind why you created that room in this show house. And I know they can be expensive, and I know that the cost can sometimes outweigh the potential results. But if you are partnering on a show home that has other partnerships with national magazines, then your marketing is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And I personally only love to do marketing that has sort of a reciprocal effect. And I love to take something that's done once and have other people promote it, and I'm promoting them. And it just has so many legs to it that it just continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. Trade shows. What I mean by this is, in the beginning, again, I'm using all of these in the beginning stories, but I was a one-man show. I was a solopreneur. I have a team now, but I did not in the beginning. And, I was going to trade shows, and I would do two things. I would set up a little space, like 10 by 20, 20 by 20, and I would have a living room area or a dining room area. And the people at the trade show could come by. Hopefully the design aesthetic would pull them in, and then they could strike up a conversation with me. And I'm telling you guys, I got one of my best clients ever from a trade show one time. It was a random client who just walked in, had a conversation. They loved what they saw. They loved my personality, and they loved the fact that, they could understand why I designed in that way. And we knew that we would work well together. And that turned into, again, to be one of the biggest projects I've had. It was published in national magazines. And this was, I think I spent maybe, I don't even know, $1,000 or so on this trade show for the 3-day time that we were there. Doesn't always happen, but it could happen. And I love sort of grassroots efforts where you are there on the front lines and again, putting your personality and your spin on what you design. I also do trade shows where I speak at trade shows. And if you're not a speaker, if you're not, someone who loves to speak to large audiences, talk to vendors and manufacturers that you work with, and maybe ask them to do a smaller event just in their showroom only. So you don't have to speak to on a huge stage. You're at High Point Market, for instance, and you love Hudson Valley Lighting, and maybe you ask them, I used you on X amount of projects last year. I would love to talk about matte black finishes on lighting this year, and see what they say. It could turn into something that they promote your speaking engagement at, and then you're getting in front of other people as well, and then just sort of developing that. And then that could be videoed. You could use it on your social media. I love to repurpose content. I'm the master of that. I repurpose so many things, and it's working smarter, not harder philosophy. But there's many opportunities at trade shows to think about how you can get your message out there. And again, I know it's just your colleagues typically at trade shows, but the vendor relationships that you can get, the marketing with your manufacturers is very, very important. And it just gives more eyeballs on your business so that you're top of mind when someone thinks about working with you in any capacity. And lastly, the vendor partner event. So what I mean by this is, let's say you have a beautiful bathroom that you just designed, and there was a gorgeous tub in that bathroom by XYZ brand. That brand could see that, and then you go to their event at a, let's say, Ferguson showroom, and that the person who is in charge of the marketing happens to be there, and you strike up a conversation. You can develop a relationship with that vendor just by going to that event and just by having a conversation about something that you've used their product for. I was recently at the last High Point Market. I was in a showroom with a vendor that I really do want to work with, and we're this close to working on a licensing deal. And I had not met the owner of the company in person yet. We've only met on video calls. And it just so happened I was there. I was, looking at the showroom. They hosted a book signing for me, which was lovely. But then the owner of the company came in, and we were able to have just a simple 5-minute conversation about what I saw in the showroom, what I was doing, what projects I was working on. And it really did, I could feel the growth of our relationship just by having that 5-minute conversation in person. So think about all the ways that you could possibly partner with your vendors and with your manufacturers, and try to attend as many events as possible that they have, because again, those in-person connections are just, they just can't be beat. Next, email list. If you don't have an email list, we're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about why you need it, and I'm going to tell you how to get one. So here we go. An email list is simply, a list of emails that you gather from current and potential customers that would like to receive information, updates, discounts, and other details about your business in the digital formats, aka email, sent to their email box. So you are all on probably email list. Hopefully you've started working on your own. If you haven't, again, don't be scared. We're going to do that. But this is probably, again, the most important thing that I do for marketing. Once I have people on my list, it is the possibilities are completely endless. Why do it, right? Everyone has email. My grandmother's 90 and she has email. It's kind of shocked me too. She's on her phone checking her email one day, and I was like, all right, lady, you go. So everybody has email. And then also your email list should include people who want to and choose to be a part of what you're doing. So these are people who agree that they like what they see, they like your design style, they like your point of view, they like how you talk about your personal life, perhaps, whatever they're gravitating towards, they chose to opt in and be a part of your email list. And when the people who choose to be a part of your email list, when they choose that and they agree to it, and if they don't, by the way, they'll unsubscribe. Don't worry. You don't have no worries there. If they don't agree with what you're saying, they'll unsubscribe, but that's okay. Because the point of this is to, when you have that ideal client, you're actually pulling in the people that you want to work with and who want to work with you, and you're repelling the people who really don't agree with your business philosophy or your values. And again, that's okay. It's a little hard to see sometimes in the beginning when you're looking at your list of unsubscribers and it's, whatever, 20 people on an email blast, but it's okay. Let it go. I've even stopped looking at those now because those don't matter to me anymore. I would rather speak to 10 people who believe and love what I'm saying and who are, mentally subscribed to all the things that I'm giving them, versus 10,000 people who could care less and are never going to be a client of mine. And what that turns into is a higher conversion rate. It turns them into, from that email list, it turns them into just a list of names and people and emails to people who are clients, because the more and more and more you nurture that list and you speak to your email list in a way that they can relate to, they have the higher potential to turning into clients, which is the higher conversion rate. Email marketing on average, get this, it sees a 4,300, yes, % return on investment, ROI. That's incredible to me, the fact that email marketing has such a high rate of return. And most marketers would agree that email marketing is actually the biggest return on investment that you would spend, because frankly, your investment isn't that much. We're going to talk about some of the costs associated with it, but it's primarily a time investment other than possible technology that you could be using. So think about that 4,300 return investment when you are thinking about getting your email list up and going. Here are some stats, all right? 99% of email users check their email every day, some as much as 20 times a day. Hands up. Yeah, me too. I try to zone it out to where I do it in the morning, in the midday, and then in the evening so that I'm not on there all the time. But if there is something big happening in my office, or if there is something going on where, I need to be on the email a lot, then I will check it a lot. But I love this as far as relations to your email list, because think about the people who are receiving your email and the fact that they are checking their email every single day. So they will see what you're saying. It's often the first thing people do online. When you wake up in the morning, you're reaching over, probably grabbing that phone. I try to put mine across the room, but God help me, somehow it always ends up on my nightstand. And it tends to be actually the first thing that people do online. And it doesn't even matter if it's on your phone. If they go onto their computer, it is the first thing that people do every day. So again, the power of email is there. Here's a stat for that. 58% of users check their email before they check out social media or the news, because maybe we want to know if there's a new client that signed up. Maybe we are having an issue that we want to check on. And then we go right into our email right away in the morning, before we even look at any TikTok videos or any sort of reels that are happening out there. We check our email. So think about that, and try to put yourself in the shoes of the person who is receiving your emails as well. And that will make it not only more relatable in your content, but as you're looking at these statistics, you can say, yeah, that sounds like me. And if it sounds like you, it could sound like your ideal client as well. Email marketing is personal. So these are my 3 P's of email marketing. And also, too, guys, if you don't write down all of the notes today, don't freak out. I'm going to give you a link. You can download the entire PDF of the presentation, and you can have that to look at later. So if you don't take as many notes down, don't worry about it. Personal. It is personal. It is coming from you. It is coming from your point of view. You're able to speak to your audience in a way, again, that they can relate to, because you know that their audience, that the audience is your audience. I love to share personal stories. I love to share events. I love to share things that are happening with me. We have our sort of email template laid out. So the first part of it is very easy. Once you set up email marketing, by the way, you can have the same template that you just reused over and over and over. And we have our introduction that kind of stays the same, and we'll freshen it up with anything news related to that month. But then we'll work into some personal things that happen. I love to share stories. One story I shared that got a lot of replies and responses was when I had to deliver furniture to a client once with an armed guard with me. And I tell you, when you start an email out saying that you delivered a load of furniture with your own armed guard hired by your attorney, people will stop and listen to that email. So think about ways that you can make your emails personal, and it needs to sound like it's coming from you, even if you're not good at writing, by the way. But now with AI, gosh, you could probably just ask it to write that for you. But even if you're hiring someone to do it for you, you can let them know what your point of view is. I recently had someone help me out with some email correspondence because I was getting backed up, and they were great. I sent them over previous examples. I sent them over, links online that I had posted so that they could get my voice. So there is a way that you can bring in help to help you create your emails, and they can still sound as if they're coming from you. But the bottom line is it should be personal, and they are personal, once again, because you're sending it out to the people who choose to stay on your email list. It's also purposeful. So have a purpose behind your emails. Have a reason for sending them. Just like an empty social media post does nothing if you're just posting to hit your 3 times a day post or 2 times a day. It does nothing if there's no meaning behind it. And same thing with email marketing. You really need to have a reason for sending that out. And Also, the reason cannot always be selling something. The reason should not always be selling something. Actually, you should be sending out emails that are giving something to your audience, something that they can relate to. Ours got a little braggy at one time. I had my admin was writing the marketing newsletters for me, and I was like, oh, that sounds a little too much braggy. We were talking about this award and that event, so we pulled it back and we decided to put in more content that the reader could relate to. And by the way, you can zone out your emails in whatever segments you want. We have so many segments. I have my book, The Designer Within. Ta-da, right there behind me. I have that. And so I have segments for my book. I have segments for my online courses. I have segments for my vendors and partners. But my main email marketing, my newsletter, which we'll talk about in a moment, goes to everyone. And then you sort of segment out all of the different areas once you are speaking to that specific person or that specific group in that segment. So you can cater that to that person, but or to that group as you want. But there should be a purpose behind it. But you can also use it for selling, and you should use it for selling, and you should use it if you are having a new service that comes out or something that you want to tell the world about. But mostly just think about the purpose behind it and always try to be serving to the audience that you're giving to rather than being self-serving. It's powerful, as we talked about those stats earlier. They're very powerful. So as someone is getting this email from you, they've again chosen to be there, and you've chosen to send out this personal, purpose-filled message that has power behind it. And frankly, it's a power that cannot be replicated in any other way, because if you have a good email marketing program where you can create this beautiful, lovely email, and I'm going to show you some tech in a minute to do that with, then you can actually create that. And the person reading that email has their name, their first name in there if you choose. I do that. Hi, Sally, here is this month's Design Bites. And we go into the details from there, but they feel like it's coming from you to them, and that has a powerful message behind it. How in the world do you create an email list? If you only have 2 people, don't worry. That's exactly how I started. I think I had 2 people, one of them probably being my mom in the beginning. I don't even know, but you can do an email list from scratch, and I'm going to show you some techniques that have worked very well for me. So this is on my website now. This is a CTA, a call to action, if you haven't heard that term. But the CTA that I have on my website is 5 design tips to decorate like a pro. So if someone goes to my website and they're seeing what they like, and they're liking the message that's on the front page, and they're enjoying what they're seeing as far as design projects, this will pop up, and they can actually enter their information, just their simple first name and email address, and it gives them the guide to design tips to decorate like a pro. You can change these out. I have several that I use. I have some that are directed more towards real estate agents who want to sell a home and ways to stage that home. I have some that are geared towards general contractors. I have some that are directed towards architects, and builders. But whatever you're trying to reach, you can have separate CTAs for those. But on the first page of my website, I'm trying to reach potential clients, and I'm trying to get their information, because if they're not ready to work with me now, just by them simply entering their email in this CTA, they're now on my list, and they're now going to be a part of my broadcast marketing that I use. And as I have them enter this, I actually know through the software which CTA that they chose, and it will automatically put them into a segment so that I can market to those people. So I know, for instance, that I'm not sending out information or an email about becoming a client to someone who already is a client, if that makes sense. So your segmentation of your email list can happen automatically if you just spend a little time on the forefront. So if you don't have a CTA on your website, I encourage you to do that. This, again, was something that I repurposed from, I believe, I repurposed it from a presentation at a trade show, actually. So I did a presentation about decorating like a pro, and I think I had 12 tips there, and I kind of diluted that down to 5. And I believe this might be a 3 or 4 page document PDF. So as they enter their information, that PDF goes automatically to their email, and they're opting in to also become a subscriber to my newsletter. Lots of reciprocal benefits from that. Here's another one that I do that works super well. I call it service opt-in. So on our website, you can actually book your discovery call, of course. You can book your consultation. And as they are doing this, I was like, gosh, I'm having all these people who are potentially future clients, and maybe they do a discovery call and it's not the right time, or maybe their financial investment isn't ready yet, or whatever the case may be, or we decided we didn't want to work together right now because we're too inundated with projects. I'm still getting them on my email list. So that is really important because I could continue to nurture them and grow, and they continue to learn more about me and my company. And then when they are ready to work with us, then they can just, they're getting an email monthly from us saying that, yeah, we're still here. Here's what we're doing. Here's a new project. And you never, ever know when that's going to click in with them and they're going to become a client. But the way I have this set up on mine is once they choose a discovery call, or this, for instance, is a consultation, they are added to my email list. And by the way, legally, you have to ask them to do that. I don't just add them automatically, but there's a step in the process that asks them to be added to my email list. But by doing this, I've probably grown my list by about 15 or 20%, just by simply adding this little add-on feature to include them in my newsletter and my email list once they're doing a discovery call or a consultation. And again, these are warm leads. So these are people who are generally interested in what you have to offer based upon what they've seen so far. So by letting a warm lead go cold, you're wasting a great opportunity to market to that person in the future. So think about a way. And by the way, if you don't have your discovery calls and your consultation set up on your website to book automatically, I do encourage you to do that as well. The automation behind that is a whole other topic. I should do a whole entire course on tech and automation and the time it saves me. But if you don't have that on your website now, I do encourage you to make it as simple as possible for people to contact you. And it should not just be a simple contact me form, because a lot of people won't do that. This is a plug and play, click, 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 choose the date, choose the time, all those things, and then they can move on from there. And then I wake up in the morning and I have a consultation or a discovery call that has been scheduled. Another way, so social media CTAs. In my social media profile, I have the link in bio, which you guys have probably have as well. And I heard, by the way, that Instagram is actually considering doing their own very soon. And I think it's in works with other countries right now where they've started that, but they're going to have, which makes sense. I'm not sure why they didn't do that in the beginning, but whatever. But for now, we have to go the old fashioned way. And I have the link in bio, but on my link in bio, I actually have a CTA, call to action, in there where they can, of course, they go in there and they see all the latest and greatest and new projects and new press releases and all that stuff. But there's also a download that they can choose. They can either download something from my own courses. If they want to learn more about my courses, I have free downloads there. Business coaching, if they want to know about that, that's in there. Also, if they just want to know if it's someone who is not a designer and is a potential design client, there are downloads in there where they can choose something that will help them out with their home. And once again, on these CTAs, they have to be good stuff. It has to be good information. It has to be little nuggets of things. You can't just put something bland and boring in your CTAs, because no one's ever going to, they're going to opt out if there's not good, juicy stuff in there. So think about something that, that you would love to have as a consumer, something that you feel would be beneficial to you if you were on the other side of that clicky button and opting in on that. What would you want to have and what would you want to hear? I find a lot of the secrets revealed and, designer insights go a long way, but you could also do anything such as how to choose cabinetry for your kitchen, the best furniture layout for your living room, whatever. But find something that is a tangible takeaway that those people can take and apply immediately to their home so that they can see the benefit of working with you in the future. So I have that right here on my Instagram, and I also have it on my Facebook as well, where you can click to learn more. I know that TikTok also in the past had a link to your website on there. I think now they've changed that, but I still have my link on my TikTok as well, which I'm not very active on TikTok. I'll just tell you that right now. As a matter of fact, in the whole CTA realm of things, I did a panel once with 2 other people, and they had lots and lots of followers. I was a micro influencer. They were definitely a macro influencer. One had, I believe, 300,000 followers on TikTok, and this was 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like what do you do? Like, what do you do? I mean, how many people do you get from that? How many clients do you get? Like, what do you do once they see the video and on TikTok? And how do you turn them into clients? And what's that process look like for you? And they were like, that's a good question. I really don't know. So they were more just into the likes and the shares and the comments versus how you turn that into a business and how you turn that into profit and financials. And that's what I always think about no matter what I do. Of course, I want it to be fun. I want to enjoy it. But if I'm doing something and it's not making my company money or making my firm have any sort of income stream, then really, why am I even doing that? Because I'm not doing a hobby business here. And it's not a non-for-profit. This is a for-profit business. And so all my time and my energy and my financial investments should turn into a great return for me. So I just thought that was a funny story how, she really was just had all these followers and likes, but wasn't really sure if they were turning into clients or not. So think about that. Something else, your email signature. I know this might be obvious, but if you're wasting your emails and not putting some sort of CTA or some sort of follow-up in the bottom of them, then you really are wasting them. I do email marketing in 2 ways for my email signature. So I am a little old school. When I give my email out to my my CPA, to my car repair shop, to anybody that I feel could turn into referrals for me, I give them my business email address, only because my business email address is johnmcclaindesign.com. That pretty much tells people what I do. And it allows them to know, like, oh, even if they're not a client now or never will be, perhaps they know someone who possibly will be a client for me down the road. So think about how you can, who you can give your email address to, and if that can turn into something down the road. The other way is, like you see here, this is a link that I have in my email now about my online courses. I change it up a lot. I have some for my book. I have some that are just simple downloads. I keep it fresh. And it's kind of fun because when you're sending your emails out to people, they don't know what they're going to see when in your email signature. So even if it's someone who is not working with you now, or a vendor or a manufacturer or a potential client or a current client, maybe they're seeing something in there that they didn't even know that you offered. So think about how to add that CTA, and you can just do the link right into the image. You can do the link right into the words, and then just hyperlink right over to whatever you're trying to get them to see. Existing clients, if you're not adding your existing clients to your email list, you are missing out. I know, and by the way, this is existing clients now and clients that you have worked with in the past. If a client is working with you, they are your people. They are the ideal client. And if you like them as well, they're going to either refer people to you down the road, or they're going to use you again down the road. But we all have to be reminded, me especially, I think the time is like 3 times is the time frame that somebody has to see something before they even think about reacting to it. So if you keep your existing clients and your future clients that you will be having, and you add them to your email list, and once again, you have to let them know legally that you're doing this. But if they're on there, then they're loving seeing what you're doing, and perhaps you even feature their project and then they show it to a friend, or they forward that email to someone else. It just has exponential growth to it from that client who loves what you do. So think about past clients that you have had that aren't on your email list. And if you have any clients now that you are working with, I encourage you to definitely add them to your email list as well. Newsletter, blog, and podcast. So again, I grouped these 3 together, and I touched on a little bit of the first 2 already, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how to use these for your marketing. Newsletter. Newsletters are fantastic. They are literally direct updates to your list. So after you've developed this fabulous list of emails that you have grown now and you're nurturing them, you want to take care of them even further. So you are going to do newsletters, and your newsletter is literally that. It's a newsletter of events of things that are happening. It's giving them takeaways. It's letting them know. We actually include our link to our blog post inside of our newsletter, in addition to some little design takeaways where people can just read the newsletter if they don't want to click on it and go to the blog. But the newsletter is coming from you. It's coming from your point of view, and it's allowing you to stay fresh and current with all kinds of new information that you're giving out to your audience. It also enhances your credibility, and you're going to see this line a lot in the next few slides, because credibility is really so important as we are becoming the experts in our industry. We need to always speak as the expert. We always need to act as the expert. And it doesn't mean fake it. It just means you should talk about things that you know about, and you should talk as the authority figure, and people will learn to trust you. And I mean, please, politicians do it all the time, whether it's right or wrong. We we have had some who say things that we just know are not true, but they say it so emphatically. But I want you to say things that are true, and I want you to speak as the authority figure. And it really does enhance your credibility. And someone will know when you speak about a topic, they're going to know, gosh, John knows a lot about kitchen design. I had no idea all the factors that went into choosing your cabinetry and the finish, and if you're refinishing your kitchen, and how to find the right countertops. And gosh, that's so important to know that. And you're going to have that information that's probably going to come naturally to you because we do it every day. But to people who don't do it every day, you're going to come across as the authority figure. So always know, of course, what you're speaking about, and always speak as the experienced person, the person who is fully informative about those topics. And if you're not fully informed about it, either learn about it or don't write about it in your newsletter. You can also promote services and events. So it's a great little way to do a little calendar of events in your newsletter. If you're having a speaking engagement, if you just went to High Point, if you attended KBIS and you saw these fabulous things, it is a great way to talk about that. It's also a great way on services category to talk about your services. So if you have a new service, or even an existing service that maybe someone doesn't know about, highlight that. We at times do something called real estate refresh, where we go into a client's home and we spend 3 hours with them and we refresh their home to get it ready for sale. And it's amazing how much you can get done in that amount of time, and how the reward is so beneficial for them. But maybe someone didn't know about that service because they haven't gone to that page of my website. So we'll feature that service in a newsletter periodically, and other features that we have. And we'll kind of include them in the newsletter to just remind people of all the things that we offer. And I never send an email newsletter out without a simple call to action at the bottom. If it's for my students in my design program, then I will send them something that's related to business, the design business, agreements, contracts, that sort of thing. If it's for potential customers, design customers, on that side of the newsletter, then we'll send them, things that they relate to, of course. So it's all about the things that you need to speak to the people that you think about, the people that you are sending it to, and speak to them directly. And remember, if you have one mass newsletter that's sort of all encompassing, which we have, that's okay to send to everybody. But if you're speaking to one customer about, if I were to send my design courses emails out to my design clients, they probably are going to wonder why the heck I'm sending that to them. So be sure that you're cognizant of who you're sending it to and what you're saying. You can also test reaction to new offerings. So let's say you are thinking about adding a new service to your company. We did something called Design in a Box. You can see I do a lot of different things, but we basically, during the pandemic, when we couldn't reach everybody in person, and maybe they wanted a little piece of John McClain design, then we did a Design in a Box. And so in that box was simply, like an all-white kitchen, the countertops, the cabinetry, the hardware, whatever. And I just use that as an example, but you can send that out to people, and then they can purchase that, and then it's done. You tell them where to purchase it. You tell them where to buy it. They have little samples of it in there. A floor plan layout is not included because it's not their personal kitchen. It's just the selections for that. But when I introduced that, I put that into a newsletter and asked my newsletter folks what they thought about it. And the reaction was so great. So if you're thinking about introducing something new and you're a little scared if you want to either put the time into it or the financial investment into it, then test it out with your newsletter audience and see what they say. All right, continuing on. Here are some software. We're almost running out of time, so I'm going to jump through these following ones. This is software that you can use to develop your email list. I use Flowdesk myself, but you have MailChimp, Constant Contact, and Zapier is sort of a related app that you can use to sort of zap one thing over to the other. But these are all great ways to do your email list. Blog, I'm going to touch on this quickly as we are running out of time, but a blog is still a great way to market your company. It drives traffic to your site. The SEO, by using certain words on your blog, are wonderful ways to have your blog pop up in a search engine result. It also enhances, again, your credibility. You are speaking as the expert. It leads to other opportunities. I've posted blogs before that have turned into partnerships that people have seen. I did one post on social media where I was talking about the 12 ways to customize a new construction home. I hadn't even got to the point of creating a blog about it. And then the vendor saw it. They wrote their own blog about my 12 ways. And then they shared a link to my website from their blog, which is really the ultimate thing that you want. So never underestimate the potential of a blog and the fact that it can lead to so many other opportunities. Also, blogs are there. They're there for the long term. And as long as you leave that blog online, that SEO is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And the results of that will just continue to grow as well. Podcast. This is talking about you either being on a podcast or you creating your own podcast. You can do both. I have my own podcast coming out next month as a part of my marketing plan. It's called The Designer Within. That launches in April, so keep an eye out for that. But the podcast perks are you're reaching your target audience. So these, again, are the people who choose to be with you. It does still enhance your credibility because you should always be speaking as the expert when you are speaking about your company and your services. It's a great cross-selling tool. So as you're on your own podcast or as you're on other people's podcasts, you can sell your services. And it's not a hard sell. It's very nonchalant. You should just be having a conversation with everyone, but it is a way to sort of subliminally let them know about all the things that you offer. And just as the blog, the podcast has long-lasting results. Lastly, and this one is the one that could be a bit scary for all of you, but I love it. Create your own online community. You can nurture your own clients there. This is the people who, again, choose to be in your community. And I'm talking about a community like a Facebook group, but you're having your own, one that you control. You have control over the content. You have no one censoring you. You have no one banning something that you say. You can create exactly what you want to say to the people that want to hear it and the people that you are talking to. So your content is your content in your own community. You also have instant communication. If you are needing to get a message out quickly to people, you can post that in your community group. And again, think about this is not a Facebook group I'm talking about. This is a community, online community that you create for yourself, for all the people that you are with to work with you. Even if some of the platforms even offer a push notification. So if you want to get something out instantly, really instantly, you can let them know that you just posted something in the specific category in the group. And you can also improve your products and services by asking for feedback within your community groups about what you're offering and what you're thinking about offering. Here is some technology that you can use. I've tried most of these out. And by the way, most of them do offer a trial period, some a week, some a month, some 2 weeks. But I use Kajabi for myself because that's where I host all of my Designer Within courses. But they also have a great community platform in there. Mighty Networks is great. Slack, if you want to go really simple, you can just create a Slack channel and have people chime in and talk about things within that Slack channel. So that's a great way to do that. BuddyBoss, Decipher, Hivebright, and Amity. And then again, if you want to kind of link Zapier into that, then you can do that as well. But check these out. And again, don't be scared. You're going to have this community of potential clients and you're giving them all this great design advice. Or, for me, I have one for clients and I have one for my students in my program, but I'm always speaking to them and giving them lots of free information, and I hang out in there sometimes, and then everyone else is in there helping each other out. And it's just a great way to really build your business and to build your reputation. All right, we did it. We finished. The rocket has launched, and now we have learned why you should not rely on social media as your primary form of marketing. Again, this was not a social media bashing session. This was just something to let you know all the other avenues out there, how to develop your own social network and with content and how to control that. And then the 4 techniques for longevity for not relying on social media. If you want the download, just take a scan of that. This will send you the PDF of the entire presentation, as well as I'm going to send you over my ideal client worksheet. And again, I'm so sorry, you guys, I'm not there in person. I really, really wanted to be. I put on good cologne. I even smell good, but you can't even tell it. It's such a waste. But I do thank you for your time today. And I've had such a good time talking about this. I love digital marketing, and I love the fact that ADAC had this fantastic digital day where you guys were able to hopefully learn some new things. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John. That was a lot of fun. We missed having you here in person, but what a great virtual presentation. Thank you so much. And thank you to Business of Home. And thank you, everyone, for being here for Digital Day.